Greetings and salutations, friends. My name is, of course, Charles Q. Banks, and I'd like to welcome you to a little conversation, a little commentary on the new Demon's Souls PS5 release game that is going to be coming out this November. And the hype is real, man. The gameplay trailer came out last week, and people are going goo goo gaga bananas for this gameplay trailer. And I myself have watched it over 100 times over the past week, and I've also watched as many YouTubers and as many Twitch streamers' reaction videos to this, and some of the analytical slash dissectional videos that have been done on the gameplay trailer. And I must say, I have not found that much critical thought among them. No doubt, the game looks good. The game looks great, in fact, from a graphical perspective. Even from an aesthetic perspective, if you're taking this as a new game, this is probably one of the best-looking games ever made for a console. And that is very exciting, very incredible that a title such as Demon's Souls, once an indie-developed game from Japan, from a little unknown company called From Software, by the, first-time director Miyazaki-san. This is the game that's getting a remaster because of all of the love that Dark Souls has garnered. And people have wanted a Demon's Souls remaster forever. All DLC for it, and I've wanted a remaster forever as well, ever since I found out that Demon's Souls existed, because I knew Dark Souls existed before I knew Demon's Souls existed, and I think that's probably true for most people who started their next-gen gaming with the Xbox 360. The last console I had played before picking up an Xbox 360 was a PS2. I had not played GameCube, I had not played the original Xbox games, and so when I bought the Xbox 360, I immediately bought Dark Souls. That was the first game I bought on an Xbox 360, which is a little funny. But, so I know Dark Souls a little bit better than Demon's Souls, but I've never really been able to pick up Demon's Souls because it was a PS3 launch title exclusive. And so I've been ruining the day ever since I started seeing gameplay footage of Demon's Souls. I always have wanted to play it. I've watched, again, hundreds of videos, probably thousands of videos of Demon's Souls playthroughs, and I want to play it so badly. And what I'm seeing from this new gameplay trailer is that it's not going to be Demon's Souls. I'm sorry. This is not Demon's Souls. This is the map design of Demon's Souls. This is the armor designs from Demon's Souls. This is the characters of Demon's Souls, and even a lot of the voice actors. The voice actress at the beginning, who plays the maiden, she seems to be the exact same voice actress as from the original Demon's Souls. So that's really cool. I love that fact. But it is different audio than Demon's Souls. All of the sound effects are different, and that's not necessarily a positive thing. The quality of the sound effects are great. They're there. It's on par with the best sound effect quality you could ever imagine. They've redone the BGM. It's not those silly trumpets and horns in MIDI format anymore. It is full-up orchestration with, of course, trumpets and horns in there, but they're not at the forefront as much as they were before. And we can tell that just from the Vanguard fight, the first tutorial boss, because they go through the tutorial in this. And of course, one of the first things that people see is that you're one-shotting all of the enemies. Well, that is because they chose a debug character, the debug character, in fact, using the same, programming as the original Demon's Souls for a debug character. He's at the same level as the original Demon's Souls debug character that they used in creating the original Demon's Souls. And so that makes sense. He's something like level 300 and something. I watched a video on that. But, so, the game won't be as easy as the gameplay trailer. So no worries about that. But when the character strikes enemies, and this is the point that I really care about the most, the aesthetics obviously are different, and I do care about that, but what I care about even more than that is the fact that the sound effects for strikes, hits, blocks, and parries are all very different. In fact, they have become extremely minimal. If you listen to the sound effects of Demon Souls, even Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, there's a very powerful sound effect to when you strike an enemy. It's not just the clang of your sword, it is the sound of the sword cutting through flesh and the sound of blood splattering on the ground. It's a very, like, visceral experience. Bloodborne, of course, has the most almost grotesque sound effect, but it's very, like, extreme and over the top, and you can really hear every single hit that connects. For example, it's kind of like what you could make with your mouth sounds. It's like it's it's very extreme, and when it comes down to what we hear in the gameplay trailer for PS5, it's basically just a clang and a grunt, and that is sinful to me because there's nothing quite as exciting as hearing your sword, shield, axe, spear, fist connect in a Dark Souls game, at least for me. And so hearing that that is not only so different but almost non-existent is very disturbing. And I know that the game is not going to be any different than the gameplay trailer in terms of sound effects. The game is probably done by now, if not in its final stages of like bug testing. But they're not going to be putting new sound effects into an already fully fledged game. So, and I've heard this said before by one YouTuber by the name of or one channel by the name of I Am Games, talking about how he's had a bad experience with Dark Souls, as most of us have, let's be honest, because he was used to playing DMC, Devil May Cry. The Devil May Cry series was his jam. He likes fighting games, combos, etc. And in those games, it's a very different fighting style, but he was used to the visual flair to hits and to attacks. Getting a lot out of the game was a matter of how much you liked the animations and how much you liked the look and flair of attacks and how your enemies staggered or got slammed to the ground or shot up into the air and you could attack them in the air and they'd be flailing. And that's what he enjoyed about Devil May Cry. So when he came to Dark Souls, which has a very minimal animation sequence for all of the hits, basically you hit a character and it flinches a little bit, and that's it. Unless you stagger them, of course, which has its own dramatic animation sequence. But the combat is not satisfying because the animations are amazing and stylistic and highly stylized. It's because of the sound effects, okay? The sound effects are what make the combat of Dark Souls satisfying. You take away those sound effects, and it's just, you know, slash, 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 and you're done with a fight, really. Maybe parry, stab. But instead, you add in all those sound effects. It's like... And speaking of the... Demon Souls is very well known for its extreme voice acting in terms of the bad guys' deaths. And not only that, the way that they scream at you when they're coming at you is very deliberate, very extreme, very over-the-top, fanatical screams of the damned. And so when you killed an enemy, it not only would have this, you know, dramatic death sequence of it just kind of, it gets its final hit, its fatal blow, and it stands there flailing for a minute, and falls over. In this game, like I said, you hit him, clang, and it stumbles over. And that may not seem like a lot, but it's a lot to me when the sound effects are so important for a Dark Souls game to be satisfying. And I'm seeing that the remake, it's not a remaster, it's a remake, does not even feature the most simple sense of short-term satisfaction. Um, the you know the graphics look insane. The graphics look great. The details in the maps are amazing. The map designs are exactly the same. The layout, the blueprint, so to speak, of every of the levels look exact and to the letter the same as Demon Souls. But if the sound effects are not there, it doesn't even seem like they attempted to make the sound effects similar. They just went their own way, and I'm seeing that they are going their own way in a lot of ways, especially when it comes down to the aesthetics. And this is the next point. The sound effects, first off, were very disturbing for me, disappointing in the gameplay trailer. Now the aesthetics. Now again, it looks great, but each enemy has a different design. The fluted armor set, of course, already had an original design in the release trailer, or not the release trailer, the reveal trailer. Sorry, excuse me. He already had a certain design, and nobody liked it because it wasn't as fluted of a fluted set, the armor that is. And so they redesigned it for the gameplay trailer, and it looks much more like what the original game's armor set looked like. That's just one armor set. I am expecting most of the armor sets in the game to look quite different than the armor sets in the original. I don't think we can get around that, unless they patch the whole game, because I think they were coming at it from a design sense of, we have all of the rights to do whatever we want with this. There's no one telling us, really, it seems, how this game is meant to look or feel. I think they wanted all the bosses to be the same, all the characters to be the same, the progression and the level design to be the same, and that shows from how the gameplay trailer goes. The focus is not on the combat. Obviously, he's one-shotting enemies. Why would you use a debug character that's over level 9,000 to show off gameplay? They weren't showing off what the game will feel like to play. Because if they wanted to do that, they would have used a non-overpowered character. They were trying to show off their level design and their graphic design. Of course, when it comes down to the graphic design, that's great. But the look of enemies has changed. The look of the Vanguard is very different. He's no longer slate gray, obviously. And I don't mind the look of the Vanguard, but the arena of the Vanguard, it's very dark around the edges, with this giant light shaft coming down through the top of the domed building that you're in. And that is very different from the Vanguard fight as we know it. Having a dark room with that light in the middle is very dramatic, especially for a gameplay trailer, but it will cause issues, I think, when you're rolling around in the dark on the fringes, and your character is going to be on the fringes of this fight, trying to get away from those massive attacks. So it's not going to feel the same at all. The color design has also changed. Obviously, the colorless fog was a big deal in Demon Souls, and I think they wove that idea into the fabric of the concept and the story, that the world is separated from Boletaria by this colorless fog which is being exuded by the demons. And that gave the world this sense of fogginess, of oppressive loneliness. And while there is some, smoky fogginess to the sky, one could say, the levels look overcast, there is no real mist in the levels themselves. as far as we can see. Maybe little bits of particle effects floating through the air, but in the original game, it was oppressive. Every single level felt like you were in a colorless, deep fog all the time. And that may have been due to the fact that they were trying to hide draw distances. Although, again, there are some levels which you can see vast expanses of the landscape without the colorless fog. But that sense of kind of this green, gray, misty substance floating in the air was ever present. And as we saw with the original reveal trailer and the Tower Knight boss fight, it originally had no fog at all. It looked like it was in a bright and sunny day, which was completely at odds to the original Demon Souls Tower Knight boss fight. And they've tweaked that a little bit. This new gameplay trailer actually shows the Tower Knight in a bit more of a dark arena. The arena looks darker. Same arena, obviously, but much darker, and I applaud them for doing that. But as you can see, there is a continual pattern with what Bluepoint has done with this game. They've made it brighter, they've made it easier to see, the mist is gone, for the most part. I'm sure there are some levels that will have much more mistiness. The Shrine of Storms comes to mind. If they don't make that super misty and foggy, then what's the point? But so that's really where I'm coming from. When I first watched this gameplay trailer, I was disturbed, like I said, because it doesn't feel the same at all. And like I said, I still need to play the original Demon Souls, and I'm wanting to play it. But this is not going to scratch that itch. I will play the Demon Souls remake, but once I do, I still need to go back and play the original, because they're different games. Anyone who is hoping for the same sound effects or similar sound effects, the same gameplay, similar sense of satisfaction to the hits and strikes, the sound of the parry is totally different. When you parried in Demon Souls, that sound is gone, replaced with a low murmur. And you can go and listen to the trailer for yourself and see these differences. These things may not matter to you at all, and that's fine. You may love the Demon Souls remake, 100% everything that they did differently, but I cannot, and this is my perspective. I do not expect you to agree with it, but I expect you to understand that people who are negative or nagged out on this gameplay trailer have a reason for doing so, for being so. I've seen a couple of videos that have been made negatively about the remake and critiquing it, and they've been lambasted. Like, just be happy that we're getting a remake. And it's like, no, we have to hold the devs to a high standard if we want the game not only to look great, but to feel and be in line and honor the original game. And when it comes down to it, that's all it's going to do, is honor the original game. It's not going to play the same as it. Now, I expected Bluepoint to be much better on this because their Shadow of the Colossus remake, which they did, was basically flawless. There was nothing really negative to be said. The sound effects, yes, they did sound different. The character's voice sounded very different and sounded weird. When you've listened to, Agro, that voice, and it's completely different, that was definitely jarring. But that's probably the only thing I could remember that was truly different. They didn't change the aesthetics, the designs of the monsters, of the Colossi was very, very similar. All the same height, scale, the aesthetic was the same, and all they did was make it pretty and sound great. And this game has taken much more of an artist's eye. Someone wanted to show off how they could make this unique. And Bluepoint has definitely done that, and it's going to be unique. It's not going to be the same designs, same bosses, same feel. There's going to be a lot more new animations, and I hate to say it, but those enemy sound effects are not going to be there. It's going to be completely different. And I need to be coming to this game, and for anyone who wanted this to be just a simple remaster of Demon Souls, you will be disappointed, but you need to come at this game as if it's a new Souls-like. That's how I'm going to have to come to it if I'm going to be happy with it, because I do want this to be a carbon copy of Demon Souls, just made pretty and sound better. But that's obviously not what it's going to be. These expectations need to be managed, but it is understandable that these expectations are had by the majority of the fan base, and people need to not lambast and criticize people for being critical of what is being done to one of their favorite games or favorite franchises. So, that being said, just keep in mind to stay cool, stay classy, and God bless, and fare thee well.